Hey everybody, welcome back to Lead Therapy, and according to some, I'm their favorite new boomer on YouTube. Before I get on with the video, I want to thank everybody that watched my first video about this subject. Last night that video, sometime after 7 o'clock, just went crazy with views. And it's getting closer. Let's see, today, in probably a couple hours, it'll be up to 90,000 views. So I really do appreciate it, all the comments and people saying that they appreciate the information that I was giving. One other thing too, I did, between all of that was going on last night with all the views and comments, I did get some comments, people saying that they're finding out that somehow YouTube is unsubscribing them to my channel. And they are saying that they subscribe back to it, and then later on if they go back to YouTube, then they're unsubscribed again. So I contacted YouTube, send a message to them or whatever it is, and since it's the weekend, I probably won't hear back from them. But if that's happening to you, anybody else too as well, please let me know in the comments. But if you would take time also to let YouTube know, so hopefully they can fix it. And when I looked into this, back to years, it happens every so often. So, but please let me know. So in the last part of the first video, I mentioned that since Mr. O'Kelly left the ATF in 2011, and he then formed his own firearms and training consulting firm, Mr. O'Kelly has also been a paid expert witness in at least 4 cases in which he has detailed his view that the AR-15 and many other guns don't have a single part that is subject to the federal law and regulation. Now in the first video I talked about the last case he was involved, which was like late 2019, early 2020. But that was just a brief part of that, and I'll cover that. I've got probably gonna have to cover this in about maybe 3 videos total, maybe 4. So his very first case involved in, and once I say the name, but once I start talking about it, a lot of you will know who I'm talking about, because this was a very well-known case. His first case he was involved in, Mr. Kelly, was in 2014 after he got a call from a San Diego area lawyer asking his opinion about a case involving the seizure of approximately 6,000 polymer gun parts the ATF had determined were receivers under the law, which were not receivers, they were 80% lowers. The devices taken as part of a criminal investigation into the Southern California-based company, here's the name that most of you will know, Aries Armor, which was suspected of dealing in firearms without a license. The company's owner at the time, Dimitri, I believe it's Karras, K-A-R-R-A-S, was never charged with a crime. His company later filed a civil lawsuit against the ATF seeking the return of his property. Mr. O'Kelly submitted a declaration in the support of Karras's lawsuit, stating that the lower receivers had only 2 of the 4 features listed by the ATF in their own definition of a receiver. Now when I find these stories, I don't just use one story, neither should any news agencies. You have to corroborate stories and go to more than one source, which I have done with this. And then some of them on purpose will leave information out or just didn't have the information, whatever. So I'm glad I did, because 2 weeks before the raid on Aries Armor, Mr. Dimitri Karras said that the AT official told him that if he would turn over the customer list of so-called the receivers, what they were calling, which were actually 80% lowers, that the raid could be avoided. In another story, which this one didn't mention, but another story I read, that supposedly they also said that if he was going to continue to sell what they said were receivers, which were 80% lowers, that he would need to get an FFL license. Now, when they said that, Mr. Karras told them that he does not sell complete firearms or complete receivers. He only sells gun parts, upper receivers, and different types of weapons gear. And all he sells is 80% lowers too as well. So then after he had that visit and before the raid, Mr. Karras actually got a temporary restraining order against the ATF, which that's amazing in itself. But the ATF got the temporary restraining order overturned by lying to the judge about the product seized, which is not classified as a firearm. Mr. O'Kelly also noted the definition failed to cover a long list of semi-automatic rifles and handguns, including a very popular Ruger 22 caliber pistol and Uzi style rifles. The regulation, O'Kelly wrote, pertained mainly to a part found in manually operated weapons such as revolvers and pump action shotguns. He said the ATF's attempt to classify the items seized from Aries Armor as receivers, as well as similar rulings in other cases, displayed, and this is in quotes, a lack of logic and consistency, which has created a climate in the firearm industry wherein it is nearly impossible for the reasonable man and or woman to be able to operate in good faith within the law. The ATF returned 5,786 lowers to Karras 2 months after the O'Kelly declaration was filed, and the civil case was later dismissed. So that is the second part of these videos. There's 3 more cases that I have to cover involving Mr. Kelly. And like I said, it's just amazing that what Mr. Kelly has done for these people, helping them out. Also, you can find online, if you just type in Dan O'Kelly, you can find all this information, the different news sources that you'll find that I've referenced. And also you will find some very good, and I've watched most of them, interviews that was done by a YouTuber. I believe his name is Gun Guy TV. Evidently he's a friend of Mr. O'Kelly, Gun Guy TV is, and you know, it's amazing just to hear the things about Mr. Kelly has talked about, but then to actually hear him talk about them himself is just amazing, and his knowledge that he has and the statutes that he knows, everything to the word, is just amazing. So thanks for everybody's support. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and of course leave comments. Don't forget to also subscribe if you haven't, and hit that bell notification. And thanks for watching, and as always, we will see you in the next video.